Okay. Just trying to find the place. Are we on page, okay, we should be on page Reish Mem Aleph in the Sifra D'tzniuta, volume 2, parak 5. I think it's getting a little more interesting for me. Kasa b'Torah b'Reishis bara. So this is the first two words here. V'hinech b'shtei tables elu u'mazin d'shtei medregus chochma b'das. Why?
You were there?
Huh?
You were there?
No, I thought that we were there.
Sure, we got all the way.
Are we just at the beginning?
No, we're a couple pages earlier.
Page Reish Lamed Zayin?
Like Reish Lamed Ches or Ches.
Ches? Well, we're in the
Reish
middle.
Lamed Ches.
We're in the middle over there. So let's start over at Reish Lamed Zayin then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there is a comment that I want to make about some of the this is a place where they have some of these letters. So Amar Hanab is all of a sudden Yeshaya. It says Hovi Goy Choyte. I know that we did read this. So there's like a sinning people. Am Kaved Avon with a lot of sins. Zera Meraim. So now it has Zera that is causing evil. Bonim Ashchizim Shroim Shiva Dargim. And then it mentions that there are seven different levels here. The first one is a goy, the second one is chayte, the third one is am, fourth one is kaved avon, the next one is zera meraim, and the next two are banim ashchisim. So those are the seven. What he says, these are the different levels of rishoyim. Okay, v'hine haim, yeah. Haim Keneged Sheva Medregel Shel the Sitra Achar on his karm. The El Dehainu one is the first one is Nachash Sheba Al Chava. Then the next two are two together Shnei Meraglim. Then there's two together again Shtei Zainas. And then there's another two together Trin Mizdabkin, which I think he was talking there about Azgak and Azka. Haim Keneged Sheva Hechelos the Tumah, and they correspond to the seven different depths of Tumah. Bosheva Hechelos the Gehinom, and also the seven palaces of Gehinom. So this number 7 going the wrong way. Bosheva Piska Gehinom. So then there's also, besides the 7 different gates, the Gehinom. Bosheva Shema Shel Yetzer Hara. All of those 7. Now I haven't seen them before. We haven't really discussed them that much. V'amar od ki Sheva B'Dregu Shel the Sitra Achar. So if you were able to line them up, you would see that they correspond to the levels of Kedusha, one going up, the other one going away. The reason why is because the Sitra Achar by itself can't do anything. But instead, it uses the name Elokim, the Kedusha, which represents Din. And as a result of that, because Elokim goes with the Nukva, I guess, it also has some sort of feed that it's able to get from the Yud Kei Vav Kei Kamoshi Yisbar V'Cholon. Is going to say this in detail further as we go along. So he said, Elu Sheva Amedrego Shal the Sitra Achra Tuluyan B'Sheva Osio Shal Shem Abaya Shehem. Now, this is what I wanted to say about this is that this is this place where they drop in these letters, and there must be a key to understanding something. I'm just trying to understand the letters by themselves, but what are they doing here? Why in this form? He does tell you that. Let's go on. So the letters are Yud Vav Daled KK and Vav K. So actually, how do they come out? Min ha'arba osir shem avaya, from the 4 different letters of avaya. So what is the avaya? In other words, he's saying that these letters are somehow corresponding to these. Let me just make sure there's 5, there's 7. There are 7. He says that they're corresponding to the klipos that he was just talking about. So somehow the klipos are involved with this. Let's see what he wants to say. So first of all, he starts off with the letter Dalet. V'amar Dalet. Ki hine os yud shel Abba, whom milui vav dav. It has a milui of a vav and a dalet. Achar kach, and then after that, yotzis os dalet v'sod ima. Then the dalet comes out. What does he mean by itself? In the secret of ima. Apik vav. And when ima comes out, or let's see what that, it produces a vav. So he said, v'achar kach, misaveris ima ba'os vav, she becomes impregnated, and inside of her is this letter vav. The haino zer v'nuk. So he says that when we say vav, we're really meaning zachar v'nuk, which is possible that you could reason backwards and say, well, the nuk is actually an extension of zer anpin. And so therefore, that's the reason why maybe he could say before that the klipos actually coming after zer anpin, because she's a part of him, or used to be, or whatever. Shehem sod os vav im b'siyah labar. So now what we have here is we have two letters, dalet and vav. I'm not sure exactly how that worked. And then he says there's a letter hey. So I guess let's go on. V'keven is avra os dalet shel ima im os vav. So since you have now the mixing of the dalet that comes from ima with the os who's impregnated with the vav, na'aseh betzuras os hey, then it becomes the name hey. So now you have this phrase hey vav yud. Now the hey is made out of the dalet and the vav. V'nimsa ki shlosh osius yud vav dalet. So you could take the letters. That's the first letter of the tetragrammaton. It says that you could take those letters and they may produce and put them in a milui. Na'asa ata the osius havi. Now you see how it is that they become osius havi. Why? Because the vav and the dalet produce a hey, and with the vav inside of it. Something like that. It's a little stretch, I think, to see how if you use the vav for the dalet with the dalet to make a hey, then they're making a hey instead of a vav and a dalet. But he says that the vav is still independent in some way, and it produces this concept of hey vav yud. He says ki os dalet na'asis os hey canal, because we've explained how it becomes a hey apek vav, and then once it's a hey, the hey has a vav in it. Achar kach otzia ima es ha'os vav. Then she produces. Now once you made from vav dalet you made a hey, then ima produces a vav shall zer anta zer v'nuk, which apparently b'bechinas leda, which apparently is saying it's a different phenomenon. So you had yud vav dalet, the vav dalet made a hey, and now the hey itself, let's say, has a relationship with the yud, the original yud, by itself, the yud pasha, and it produces a vav on the side of the hay. Something like that. That's why I'm hearing it. Because going back to this concept, is the nukva is always a part of zer anpin. I guess I didn't make that up. He said it. Iyar at the time of conception, ba'ukitz shebesofa os vav. So he says, what is it? He says that this is the little the point. I'm just reading again. Ki nukva choisa kolula b'zer anpin. So she's a part of the vav. So she's a little shtickle that sticks out. Now it's interesting. I always imagined it as basi as a step. So I assumed that it was at the bottom, but he's saying it's part of the vav, and it's the little tip of the vav, and it's on the left side. So it's different than the way I had it in my mind. So he says that this is the right way to look at it. So he said. So then he said. So it says lakat basi the vav. So du labar. So now you have dalet and vav labar. V'hanta k'shiyatza l'chutz. Now it goes out. Oznis gala v'chinev shnei partzufim shel zer v'nuk. Now you see that there are two partzufim here. Now it's very interesting. He started off with a dalet, and what did he have? He had a dalet, and with the vav it could make a hey. Then from the hey you break it. Once you make a hey and it's impregnated, it produces a split between the two of them, which is that now you have zer v'nuk on one hand. They produce zer v'nuk, which is the vav and the dalet, or the dalet and the vav, which is the way he says it comes back the way it was. There's mukva, which was originally just the tip on the vav. Na'asis os dalet, it becomes a dalet. V'nimsa ki b'chutz heim osius daled and vav. When you see them outside of the hay, then they become like two. Now I didn't really hear. Let me read this one part. He says ki anukva shachasa bebechidah pasil lebar. When she was in that particular situation, naasis os vav. She os daled. She becomes a daled. Now how does she become a daled? She was just a little tip on that, but now she becomes a daled. I don't see how he says that she actually does that. The nimsiki b'chutz heim osius do. So now when they're outside, you have this vav, which was born out, and you have the letter daled. It could be that the hay is just, I don't know. I don't see how it is that the tip of the vav produces a daled. I just don't see how that comes out. But I could see how that from the hay you split the vav off, then you're left with a daled. I can see that. But the other point, I don't really see that. So he's time Adam Dachor Vanuk Va'az Mesuyomim. So now they're crawling. So now they're out there and they're crawling Zer Vanuk B'Shem Adam. And we know that they're called by the name Adam. The two of them together, the word Adam means Zachor Vanuk. Because now they become two complete and total partsufim. Shel Zachor V'Nekeva HaNekroim Adam. Moshe Ne'emer, like we learned like this, Zachor V'Nekeva v'yikrach hashemam Adam, the inun du, which are these two, dalet and vav. So, which means two. Shehem du partsufim and nirmazim ba'osam du, dalet and vav. Now, like I said before, I didn't really understand how this dalet was produced out of the tip of the tip of the hay, the tip of the vav rather. I don't see that. So it's still bothering me. Like the rabbi said, Adam v'chava nivro du partsufim. Kolom b'shnei partsufim devukim yachad. It's okay. V'l'acha nesira. Then after that, but then there becomes a nesira os dalad shel anukva la'os hey. I think so. He said then after that the dalad becomes a hey. V'nimsa the zer v'nuk na'azim osius vav and k. Now all of that, he just told us the secret of the creation of the letter of Zachor v'nuk. Some secret that has to do with that. I told you a part that I didn't see where the daled came from, and now he said v'holo and nesira, but now he's bringing in the concept of nesira. At the time of the nesira, so first of all they become split, a daled and a vav. And the asis os daled shall anukva laos hey. So now it becomes a hey. V'nimsa the zer v'nuk na'asim the osius vav and k. V'zechu bebir seva sheva osius. So now this is the explanation of the 7 letters that we saw before. Yud. So that is yud vav daled. So that combination could produce a hey in some way, and then that little tip, and so on and so forth. It becomes a vav inside of the hay. Reproduces it. There's the hay. I don't know. Let's see. He's going to explain it out. The Gehinom, Yud Vav Daled Hu Besod Abba. The hay Hu Besod Ima, no problem. Hamu Veres Ba'oz Vav, who has a Vav within her. Hey Betzir Daled Vav. It's the hay actually has the formation of the putting the Daled and the Vav together. Haim Zer V'nuk, and that those two together make that final hay, which is, I don't know, they make the components of Zachor v'nuk. Hadavukim ach ba'ach mishas later ad nesira, and they remain in the position of back to back until the time of the nesira. Now let me read this again. He says, Haim Zer V'nuk hadavekim, which are davek echad ach ba'ach b'shas later ad nesira, at the time of birth until they are split. And then the vav k heim zer v'nukva la'achar nesira. Then you see them completely and totally split. That means that they're after the time of the nesira. Oh, we're out of time. Okay, still didn't get through it. Okay.